complicated projects easily. So at outset, we may study the methodologies followed in designing one particular project, but practical knowledge is important. A theoretical and practical knowledge is totally different. So this program will help you to get enough technical knowledge. Okay. So actually, this is a learning platform for you, the students, where you can improve your employability skills. That is very, very important. So the industrial training program improve your awareness in a particular technology. And but as a student, you may heard that you have only chance in a software side, but that is not true. You are having so many job opportunities in our engineering field. As in our ECE domain, you have several job opportunities. So please use such a program and get benefited. Okay, so it gives you can obtain a hands-on experience and you can get a real job of scenario. It cultivates the leadership ability and gives you the responsibility to execute and perform a given task. So, and it also increase your self-confidence and identify your proficiency. So, in our curriculum, this industrial program has to be taken by the student during the online study in order to get a degree. And it also has a credit. So, I request all the students to make use of this provision and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your valuable speech. So now I request our Dean, sir, to give the felicitation.
Respected Secretary and Correspondent, S.D. Chandrasekhar, Velalar College of Engineering and Technology. Respected Principal Dr. M. Jayaraman, Controller of Examination Dr. K.R. Valluvan, Engineer C.N. Ekambaram, Automation Director, Intech Systems Chennai Private Limited, Head of the Department of ECE, Dr. Nisai Angeline, coordinators of this training program, and my dear students, good morning to everyone present here via online mode. I am extremely happy to participate in this 5-day online industrial training program on Industrial 4.0 organized by Intech Systems Chennai Private Limited. So we are always thankful to Mr. Doraisamy, Chairman Intech Systems Chennai, for his tremendous support to our department for a couple of years in various ways. So right from sharing his technical knowledge and technical systems, he has given us a lot of systems for the training, and they are giving us job opportunities for our students, and now they are willing to give this final 5-day online industrial training program for our students on Industry 4.0, which is the trending, the recent trends in the industry. So I hope this training program will enhance our students' knowledge on Industry 4.0, though we are unable to move out of our place due to this pandemic situation. One way or other, they are helping us on giving online training program for our students, and I hope this will be of much useful students to learn practically via online. It is a different kind of learning environment, and students have to adapt to this situation for the time being. Later, we may have real training, industrial training program from companies like Intech Systems Chennai. And I am thankful to our COE and HOD for organizing such programs with the help of the coordinators. I hope this program will be of useful to the students as well as staff members who are all participating in this. I wish this program to be a grand success. Thank you all. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful felicitation. Now, Engineer C. N. Nehambaram, sir, from Intech System, will continue the session. Sir, the session is yours.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. I welcome you all to this program, Industry 4.0. Before starting, I would like to thank your principal, your HOD, Dr. Nisha Angeline, Dr. K.R. Vanduvan, Mr. Vijayan, Associate Professor, Mr. Murugesan, Karthikeyan, Madam Raghavi, and faculty of your college, students, and dear friends, to give me an opportunity to conduct this program. So today's topic will be introduction to Industry 4.0. So this session is going to be basically an introduction, what 4.0 is, for students who are coming to know of it for the first time. Then we'll be taking a few case studies, which we have done in our company. And tomorrow's program will be a live video session of our facility at our HO. And if time permits, we'll also take another case study tomorrow. So first, I'll start with the introduction about our company, Intech Systems, Chennai Private Limited. It was started by our chairman, Mr. P. Duraiswamy, in 1987. He's an instrumentation engineer from Madras Institute of Technology. So initially, it started as an instrumentation company dealing with weighing systems. Later, in 1996, we entered into automation business. At present, we have around 190 staff in this automation division. And the strength of our company is stock of the products. We have some major brands. And we have a stock of 160 million INR in stock of material. This no other company in the industry, the same industry, has got it. Right now, the IAB turnover is around 600 million. Intech, even though it started as an automation business, it is now turned into a group company with and diversified into various activities. So the group turnover is around 1.5 billion. The main parent company is the industrial automation business. Then we have the panel and project division, where we make control panels, and we take the projects are also handled by that division. Then we have a paper mill. We have organic farming. Then wind energy. We have a crumb rubber recycling unit at Powai. And recently started is a LED lighting division. And we also have a Reliance petrol bunk. It's the largest petrol bunk in Tamil Nadu. So our business associates, we are representing the following brands. Omron, it's a Japanese brand. We deal with all automation products, and Omron is a leading brand in sensing and controls internationally. Then we have Delta. Delta again is a Taiwanese company. They are leaders in power. Recently, they have launched a lot of products for this EV charging, that's electric vehicle charging. And they are into telecom power also, but we are mainly doing their automation and motion and power products. Power products in the sense VFDs, servos, and all that. Then we have Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi is again a great brand. They are into a lot of fields. We are representing their automation, motion, and low voltage switchgear. Autonix is a Korean company. They basically are specialists in sensing and control components. They have mainly thyristors, they have the sensors, they have a good range of sensors, they're very cost effective. And then Inno. Inno is another brand, it's a Singapore based company. It's basically concentrating on sensing and control components. And then we have the weighing and LED also under Inno brand. So apart from, they are the major brands. Apart from that, we have Oriental Motors. They are mainly popular for stepper motors and compact geared motors. Then we have Honeywell. Honeywell again is an instrumentation brand. We have limit switches, transmitters, barcode scanners, printers, and ident solutions. Nova Technic is a brand which deals with linear transducers. These are mainly used in instrumentation for precise positioning and all that, measurement actually. Then IPA is an Indian company and we are into weighing. And finally, there's a Bombay-based company called United Technomat Engineers. They deal with linear actuators, dampers, and gate, which will be used in process industries. So now coming to our main subject, Industry 4.0. So 4.0 is not a sudden development. There have been stages of development in the industry, which we call it as starting from Industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and finally now we are in Industry 4.0. Just to recap about the history of how the development has taken place, I'll just brief you on 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. 1.0 is the first starting of mechanization where steam power was used to power looms. I think so you'll be knowing what is looms like. For the textile industry, we have the loom. Similarly, they were hand-driven looms earlier, and later on it was automated by using steam power. So they were able to achieve good production in that. So that is the start of Industry 1.0. Then Industry 2.0, that's in the 19th century, where the actual automation started. There's a discovery of electricity and assembly line production. These were the two major activities of Industry 2.0. So electricity, as you all know, the application mainly into industry is we have the motors. Motors are the prime workhorses. We call them as workhorses. And assembly line production. Assembly line production in the sense earlier, I'll take an example of automobile production where there's one station and the whole car was assembled at that station. There are about 10, 15 stations and one whole car was assembled, right from the fixing of the chassis, fixing of the engine, fixing of the doors, tires, etc., were done in one single station. Whereas this, during the Industry 2.0, they started doing it in assembly. There's a conveyorist. It was more of a conveyor. And what we find today in most of the industries, we have a conveyorized production. And each station will be doing only one job, and the next station will be doing a different job. So at the end of the conveyor, you'll find the whole product being assembled. This is done in motor assembly, this is done in computer assembly, this is done in automotive assembly, and everywhere now it is a production line. So this is the main development in Industry 2.0. Then we have Industry 3.0, where a little bit of intelligence has come in, where the PLCs, computers, they were all, and even some robots were also introduced. This is Industry 2.0. There's some intelligence into the machine. The machine was not so dumb. It could do some automatic work based on sequences of program stored in program memories. I think probably in the next year or so, you'll be learning about programmable logic controllers. So that was the development in the Industry 3.0. So it's called intelligent automation. Now coming to 4.0. So 4.0, the main idea of 4.0 is connectivity. Communication has taken a very strong position in Industry 4.0. That's a recent trend. Then even more intelligence has got into it. Then we have flexibility of automation. Automation, and then we have what is called as machine learning, predictive maintenance. All these are some new terminologies which have come into it. So we are in the fourth industrial revolution. It's called Industry 4.0. Now, earlier also we had automated production with computer and all involved in that, computer PLCs and all. Now they're all being networked. Even the sensors, so sensors used in are able to communicate with each other. The sensor is able to communicate with the host, and the host system is able to communicate with a centralized server. So this we call a cyber physical production system. Cyber means computerized physical production. Even the machines are there, everything is there, but they are all computerized and the factories are smart, where we get a lot of data. That is what we are going to see in the forthcoming slides, how data is very important to take decisions, to improve productivity, and so on and so forth. Okay. So nowadays, we got more of prediction, like the machine, we got something called IO link sensors and all the recent development in Omron, where the sensor life is being predicted. Like suppose a sensor is given 50,000 operations. So we may not know how many operations have gone, but these units have a track record of how many times it has been operated, and depending on the voltage and current the sensor draws, the sensing distances, they create a pattern and they give you well in advance that the sensor may fail. So we can replace it immediately at our convenience so that there will not be any downtime. Downtime in the sense stoppage of production. Okay. This is a brief about what Industry 4.0 is about. So at this point, I just wanted to make a request to the students. This session should be interactive, because this is what we call as new normal, where we don't see you people. It's a one-way lecture but unless we get a feedback, it's very difficult to deliver a lecture. It's not like we come here, we just read what all we have prepared, read and go. We want whatever you learn, even 1% or 2% of learning. Yes, we are happy. The more you learn, the more we are happy. But even the basic, at least you should learn something out of this. You should not go without any knowledge. It's not for any what called formality like. So I want you people to make this session very interactive, because when we take lectures in person, when we see you, then we'll be able to gauge your understanding and accordingly modify our lecture. But here it is totally blind. It's something like an open loop control. We just deliver, we don't get any feedback. But the feedback should, and even I don't know the names of the participants, so that we can even call out and ask them, at least when we are in a real-time class, we can at least point out at students and call them, but that facility is also not available here. So I request you people to make it more interactive so that even for me it is more useful in modulating the lecture, whether I'm going fast or I'm doing very slow, or I'm dwelling on a subject which is not too important. All that we'll be able to gauge only when you interact. Now, can I have at least one student to unmute their mic and say what they've understood about 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So, any student, unmute your audio and speak.
How many students are there, ma'am, in this? How many participants are there in this?
Sir, there are 93 participants.
93.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Sir, including a few faculty members. There are second year students of ECE, sir.
At least one or two can just unmute, no?
Okay, okay, sure. Anybody unmute yourself? Sadhanika, Bhavadarini, Dev Prasad. Anybody?
No, at least say whether yes or no.
Yes.
Not too many discussions, because this is a very basic life.
Okay, sir, okay.
You understood? Or you require, I'm too fast or too slow?
Sir, we can follow you, sir.
Yeah. At least some reaction from the students, I'll be happy.
Okay, sir, okay, sir.
Okay, I'll give some more time for them to warm up. It's already 11 o'clock, so people should be up and around. Okay, coming to this, what exactly is Industrial 4.0? Industrial 4.0 is not just a single topic. It is a combination of information technology and operational technology. Information technology, as you all know, is computer-based data processing and such. Whereas operation technology is the actual physical production systems like machine operations and so. So we are combining these two. Basically, that is what is Industry 4.0 with digital solutions and advanced technologies. Nowadays a lot of technologies are advanced. So Industry 4.0 has made this possible. But again, if you divide Industry 4.0, there are a lot of developments in Industry 4.0. So I've just taken a few to give an insight of what Industry 4.0 is all about. The main thing what we are all talking about is Industrial Internet of Things. This is very synonymous to Industry 4.0. So IoT or IIoT. IoT is Internet of Things. IIoT is Industrial Internet of Things. That's the only difference. It is industrialized. Anything, see, whenever you do a product for the domestic use, it's something different. For the industrial use, it is more rugged, it's got better life, it's more reliability and all that. So Industrial Internet of Things is like that. Then we have big data, cloud computing, then additive manufacturing. Additive manufacturing is a very interesting field. But this is slightly away from your E&I, ECE, E&I and all that. And advanced robotics. Robotics has become everybody's tool today. So moving on. What is IIoT? So you are using the internet as a medium. Internet is basically a communication, like, you know, so we have search engines, we are able to access different websites and all that. So IIoT refers to interconnected sensors, instrument and other devices, and they're all networked into computer. Like earlier we had only computer to computer networking, like we had a LAN system where different computers are connected and connected to the main server and all. But now it has gone one step ahead. Now all the sensors, instruments, and other devices are also being networked for industrial applications, for manufacturing as well as energy management. What's the advantage of connectivity? So connectivity enhances data collection, exchange of data, comparison, analysis. So all this, why we do is to improve productivity and efficiency. So the profitability of any factory or any process depends on how efficient it is working and how productive it is. So for that, this IIoT is very helpful. So what is cloud computing? See, earlier everything was on a desktop. We wanted a computer, it is on a desktop. We want a printer, it's on a desktop. We want a storage device, yes, it's all available in one single place like our office or so. But cloud computing, we have something centralized in the sense it is a common place for everybody to use. They can share the resources. So if you see on this side, I've put all the applications. We have monitoring, content, then collaboration, communication, finance. Then we have platforms like object storage, identity, runtime, queuing, database. Then we have infrastructure like computer, block storage, network. All these are all interconnected and it's all centralized. So this is actually the computer cloud technology where everything is available. Probably they may not be available in the same place, but they are all well connected. But all this can be accessed by a laptop or a computer at your office or your mobile device or a tab. Or so you need not have so much of storage space in your tab. The storage space of the cloud can be used. So even for computing, for some softwares, you can access to the cloud. So there are two types of, one is called, we have a exclusive cloud for a company. We can hire a cloud and that is exclusive company, or there's something called a general cloud. So the word cloud is mainly a facility where we have a lot of storage space. Basically, we have a lot of storage space and other monitoring devices, softwares, everything is available on the cloud. Like, so we can access it from a client devices. So this is called cloud computing, by which we can, what we can do is it's something like hiring the facility. Like you need not have all the facilities in-house because you'll not be using all the facilities at the same time. So you can economize on your investments. So the first two subjects are very much to your thing. Like now, I'll take what is meant by big data. Big data actually, this is again in the cloud storage. See, nowadays we collect a lot of data. Every second we collect some 100 data on the performance of machines, on the instrumentation data. like this data, actually it was only the facility of research scientists like NASA or ISRO, because whenever they launched satellites or rockets, they had huge data and they had a big data processing facility. But now it has come into the commercial also. So big data is nothing but a collect of huge volume of data, and it cannot be processed by a normal software. We require some special softwares to process the big data. For example, I just given here is New York Stock Exchange, about 1 terabyte of trade data per day. Because there's a lot of stock trading happening. I think so you're all aware of what is stock market, where we buy shares of different companies and they do a lot of trading. And then we will, your own Facebooks, your social media like WhatsApp, there are also 500 plus terabytes of new data gets into the database every day. And you, after even about 6 months, you wanted to take some withdraw or retrieve some photos from your Facebook and all that has to be stored. So that's called big data. And one more is the jet engine in the sense aeroplane. So for every 30 minutes of flight time, it generates about 1000 TB, that's called a petabyte, 1000 terabytes of data. What is the data? Basically the altitude, the speed with which it's going, and there are a lot of other fuel level and what's the rate of consumption. There are so many things available in an aircraft. So this is just to give a quantity of what is the volume of data. I've given this as big data. So big data processing, big data collection, this is also a separate field by itself. It's mainly into the software industry. So now coming to this additive manufacturing, I think so you all would have known about 3D printing. Do you have any 3D printers in your college?
No, sir.
Okay. It's a quite advanced technology. Then mostly it is being used by the mechanical engineering departments to create new models, 3D models. Like you can print a bottle. Suppose there's a water bottle, you design a shape and you can print it. The real bottle, you can get a bottle out of, so which can be used also. That is called 3D printing. But additive manufacturing is slightly more different. It's actually a more industrialized. So in additive manufacturing, the material may be plastic, metal, or concrete also. Recently, L&T has done concrete printing of houses also. So here we have a 3D model of the components drawn using a CAD modeling software. Once the sketch is produced, that is transferred to the additive manufacturing equipment, and it is printed layer by layer. So this is totally a very vague, like, so I've just given a video. I'm not able to play on the full screen.
What is additive
Are you able to get it?
Additive manufacturing, also
Yes,
known
sir.
is a process that
You're able to see this video?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Is the size okay, or shall I make it bigger? Somehow I'm not able to run it on that. I'll try making it bigger. Huh?
Okay, sir.
No, I'm not able to get it. I'll just run it as it is. Okay.
what is additive manufacturing? Additive manufacturing, also known as 3D printing, is a process that creates a physical object from a digital design. An engineer designs the object using computer-aided design, or CAD software. The 3D design file is then sliced into thin layers and uploaded to an additive manufacturing machine. The manufacturing process begins once an extremely thin layer of metal powder is spread across the platform.
What happens is they make a 3D drawing. The 3D drawing is cut into thin slices, like the drawing is, that is by software itself, it is cut into thin slices, and each slice is transmitted to this additive manufacturing machine as a unit. First, one layer of powder, metallic powder, is spread on this, spread on the plate like this. Now there will be a laser beam,
A heat source
and depending on the
or
drawing,
electron beam then melts the first layer of the 3D design. The platform is lowered, and another layer of metal powder is spread across the platform. The layering and melting process is then repeated until the part is complete. The metallic powder is removed, and a physical object is revealed. Additive manufacturing allows you to produce parts that are lighter, stronger, and more durable than traditionally made parts. Build times are faster. Engineers can add precise features and complex geometries without increasing cost. In fact, additive manufacturing is revolutionizing the way we work.
is it okay? You're able to understand? Actually, the conventional machine, we do subtractive manufacturing. We take a block and then we remove all the unwanted material. Finally, we get the shape of the component. But here it's called additive manufacturing. Yes? Students, are you now ready? At least now? Any doubts so far? சொல்லுங்க, தமிழ்லயும் பேசலாம், இங்கிலீஷ்லயும் பேசலாம். ஒன்றும் there's no inhibition. நான் எதுக்கு அப்படியே இங்கிலீஷ்ல பேசுறேன், இந்த டெர்மினாலஜிஸ்லாம் ஈஸியா புரியும்ன்றதுக்காக நான் இங்கிலீஷ்ல பேசுறேன், அவ்வளவுதான். எல்லாருக்கும் தமிழ் தெரியும் இல்லையா? என்ன ப்ரொசீட் பண்ணலாமா?
Yes, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Okay, sir. எப்படி கிளாஸ்ல இந்த மாதிரி ஏதாவது ப்ரொசஸ்லாம் ரொம்ப ஈஸி இல்லைங்களா கிளாஸ் ஹேண்டில் பண்றதுக்கு? எல்லாம் குவைட்டா இருப்பாங்க, ஈஸியா கிளாஸ் எடுத்துட்டு போயிடலாம். ஓகே, அட்வான்ஸ் ரோபோட்டிக்ஸ். ரோபோட்டிக்ஸ் எல்லாருக்கும் தெரிஞ்சிருக்கும். டுடே இட் இஸ் வெரி காமன். Do you have a robot in your college?
No, sir.
Okay, we are supplying robots to many institutions. Actually, if you all are interested, we can also give you one. Okay, advanced robotics is like basically it is a robotics, but the advanced robotics will have more of adaptability. அப்புறம் இப்போ ரோபோட்லாம் இப்போ ஒரு இடத்துல நின்று தான் வேலை செய்துட்டு இருக்கோம். ஸோ வி ஹாவ் இன் அட்வான்ஸ் மொபிலிட்டி. ரோபோட் கேன் மூவ் அரவுண்ட். இட் இஸ் நாட் எக்ஸாக்ட்லி ஹியூமனாய்ட் ரோபோட் மாதிரி ஒரு மேன் மாதிரி ஹேண்டு, ஐஸ், லெக், இயர்ஸ் எல்லாம் வச்சுட்டுலாம் மூவ் ஆகும். இட்ஸ் பேசிக்லி linked structure only like any other robot, but it will have wheels. It will have what we call as automatic guided vehicle or automatic intelligent vehicle, over which will mount the robot and it will move. If you have time, you can go through the our Omron YouTube, where we have a AIV with our robot. We have a cobot rather mounted on it, and which moves from machine to machine, loading, unloading components, unloading a component from machine and loading it to the other machine. Omron Cobot AIV அப்படின்னு போட்டிங்கனாவே you'll be able to get it. Okay. Then one more advantage is commissioning it very quickly, reconfiguring and commissioning quickly. The teaching process has become very easy in advanced robotics, whereas earlier we used to have teach pendant with point teaching and all that. Now we can physically move the robotic arm and we can teach. They are more efficient and stable. Then nowadays the most important thing is software is becoming more powerful. The hardware எங்க யூஸ் பண்றாங்கன்னா the end of end effectors ன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க இல்லையா, அந்த மாதிரி end of the line அங்கதான் front endல தான் நம்ம வந்து final element அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவீங்கல்ல இன்ஸ்ட்ருமெண்டேஷன்ல, அது மாதிரி the final element மட்டும்தான் இப்போ ஹார்ட்வேர் ஒன்று இருக்கு. அங்க it may not go off, but all other intelligence, calculations, everything is being taken by the software. And the software வந்து it is not like data processing software or anything. It is more into engineering. Unless you have a very strong engineering knowledge, these softwares are very difficult to develop. If you update, you have inclination towards software, these are the areas where you can concentrate. Good. Now I've given a very basic understanding. I presume that I've cleared your doubts about Industry 4.0. I've given what exactly is Industry 4.0 and all that. So now I'll be taking another 15 to 20 minutes. I'll just go through the project we have done at Intech. So here we have Intech DAQ, data acquisition systems, and mainly traceability. What do you mean by traceability? Traceability is a very common word. To trace, for example, there's a burglary in a house. So, or burglary, how do they find the thief? Basically, the police will bring a dog. Yeah? The dog will do the sniffing on the object. They probably can get a scent of that thief, and then it will try to move to the path and locate. If not the exact person, at least the direction which has gone or some clues. So that is called traceability. Tracing in the sense, once some incident has happened, you wanted to trace it, how it has happened. That is called traceability. If in the automotive industry, traceability any component when it is manufactured, we collect data at different points of manufacturing at different times. Over time, for example, 10 to 11 வந்து ஒரு 100 number of carburetor பண்ணிருக்காங்கன்னா 100 number of carburetor ஓட டேட்டாவை எடுத்து ஸ்டோர் பண்ணிப்போம். அந்த கார்பரேட்டர்ல எல்லாம் போட்டிருக்காங்க, வாட் ஆல் அசம்பிளிஸ் ஆஃப் கான், கார்பரேட்டர் ஸ்லைடு போட்டாங்க, கார்பரேட்டர் ஜெட் போட்டாங்க, ஃப்ளோட் போட்டாங்க, அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் போட்டிருக்கா அப்படின்றது டேட்டா கலெக்ட் பண்ணி வச்சுக்கோம். நாளைக்கு ஏதாவது ஒரு பிரச்சனை இல்லை, ஆஃப்டர் ஃபிக்ஸிங் ஆன் டு த வெஹிக்கிள் ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் வந்து வச்சு, சப்போஸ் தட் என்ஜின் இஸ் நாட் ஸ்டார்டிங் அட் ஆல், அந்த மாதிரி தான் கார்பரேட்டர் டிஃபெக்ட் ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணாங்கன்னா, then we have to trace back what has happened, why that carburetor is not functioning properly. அப்படின்னா இந்த கார்பரேட்டரோட டேட்டா எல்லாம் நம்ம ஒரு ஸ்டோர் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்கோம் கிளவுட்ல. ஸோ வில் அந்த கார்பரேட்டரோட சீரியல் நம்பர் எடுத்து பார்த்தா, பார்கோடு ஏதாவது ஒரு ஐடென்டிஃபிகேஷன் வச்சிருப்போம், அதை ட்ரேஸ் பண்ணி பார்த்தா we know when it was manufactured, what has gone into it, for example, ஒரு டைட்னிங், ஒரு ஸ்க்ரூ கூட சரியா டைட்டன் பண்ணல, suppose or there's a block in that, or test report, எல்லாத்தையும் எடுத்து பார்க்கலாம். We can trace it back and see where exactly the problem has occurred. And if you're able to trace it, okay, the carburetor will be replaced by a new carburetor, but why this problem has occurred, and that we'll analyze and try to give a foolproofing solution so that that will not happen in future. This is the crux of what traceability is. Okay, this is again our basic okay, while doing this traceability project, what are the hurdles? இப்போ ஒரு ஃபேக்டரி எடுத்தோமா, அதில் வந்து there will be some lot of machines involved in the factory. So அங்கே வந்து existing PLC இருக்கும். So we will not be able to replace those PLCs. What we'll do about it? That's one question. Then what is going to be the benefit of upgrading? traceability include பண்றதுனால what's going to be your productionல என்ன advantage இருக்குன்னு பார்ப்போம். Okay, then production loss. இப்போ suppose IIoT system fail ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா production இன்னும் போயிடுமா அப்படின்ட்டு. அப்புறம் will it work with the existing ERP system? அப்புறம் அதுக்கு அடுத்தது வந்து who will take care of the IT part and cloud? So if different people நம்ம engage பண்ணோமோ ஒரு automation ஒருத்தர் ஐடிக்கு ஒருத்தர்னா இவங்க கேட்டால் அவங்க சரியில்லைன்னு அவங்க கேட்டால் இவங்க சரியில்லைன்னுவாங்க இல்லையா, அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு கண்டிஷன் வருமா அப்படின்னா these are the hurdles. அதுக்கு we have a solution at Intech. So we can make it work with the existing PLCs with some small modification. In the sense we'll add some software for communication if it doesn't have some hardware for communication, or some small changes we'll do in the existing PLC and program, and we'll do it. So that will not cost them much. So இதுல என்ன traceability வரணும், production fault data அதெல்லாம் இருக்கும், predictive analysis எடுக்கலாம், என்ன advantage நம்ம பார்த்தோம் இல்லையா, அதுக்கு பட் நம்மளோட traceability systemல வந்து even if IoT connection fail ஆயிட்டா கூட intermediate storageல it will store lot of data. So the system can accommodate to different ERP or SAP database. அதுல ஒன்றும் இஷ்யூ இருக்காது. Then we can take care of the cloud infrastructure. அப்புறம் ஃபைனலா வந்து Intech is a one-stop solution. We take care of both IT as well as automation, so that blaming each other is not there. Okay. So we can launch the DAQ very quickly, and it's a very affordable package, and we have unlimited licensing. You can add a lot of clients and all that. So we can handle almost all these brands of PLCs. We can give device support and all that. So we can give different types of reporting like graphs, pie charts, and so easier to identify பண்ற மாதிரி பண்ணலாம். Okay, real-time monitoring. So you can also see the status as and when it happens also, not that store பண்ணிட்டு அதுக்கு அப்புறம் நம்ம analyze பண்ணி பார்க்கணும் இல்ல, as and when it happens also you can do it. We can guarantee a very secure cloud with a good firewall. So now coming to traceability per se. So traceability of what? Parts, components, raw material source. Raw material கூட நம்ம trace பண்ண முடியும். We have good volume of data, reliability of the record. That we can ensure. And then we verify the record for each action. இப்போ சரியா ஸ்டோர் ஆச்சா இல்லையா அந்த மாதிரி டேட்டா பண்ணலாம். So in customer formatக்கு data formatக்கு we can make it compliant. So enabling supply chain automation by big data, a total automation பண்ணலாம், data எடுக்கலாம். And we can give a long time data retention, 10 to 15 years கூட வைக்கலாம். So the warranty guarantee periodலாம் வர வரைக்கும். Another few minutes then I'll close. இப்போ யாராவது டவுட் இருக்குங்களா?